Hello and welcome to the ALLAnal podcast. I'm your host, Sebastian Starr, here with my good longtime friend, Andre M. Wolf, aka Wolf the Poet. And today we're going to be analyzing a selected few songs that he selected himself. So before we get into this, we're going to be doing a lyrical analysis of these 4 songs. Do you want to start by telling me why you chose these songs that you selected? And you don't have to give the titles away just yet, because I feel like there's a central theme here with not just these artists involved, but what their lyrics mean. And by the way, I haven't heard any of these songs before in my life, but I am familiar with a few of the artists here. So you want to start by telling us why you chose these 4 songs in particular to analyze.
So with these 4 songs, they kind of really identify who these 4 artists are, and they basically are storytelling type songs that not many people are too familiar with, but they have a large impact on the person's like identity. So I picked these 4 songs in particular just to kind of give you like these artists that are not really super huge, but they make you think more than just listening to a Lil Wayne track, or like an artist that just is all about boom bap and just going at it with just bar heavy like lyrics. These people kind of give out a story that puts you in the driver's seat, make you feel what's going on.
And I agree. I don't think too many, and I'm not gonna overshoot my shot and say that these are new artists, because I feel like they're not. I feel like they've been around long enough people to identify with their music and understand who they are as individuals. But I do agree that many artists nowadays don't tell stories anymore. And me personally, my favorite type of music is a type of music where there's a story involved, whether, the entire album is, wrapped around a central theme or an idea, kind of with something similar that maybe Tyler, the Creator, or Kanye West has done in the past, where each of their albums has a theme, a central theme around it. There's a main character that is mentioned or, shouted out in every single song. There's there's like a series.
Like Logic. His albums.
So people don't really do that anymore. So I appreciate the fact that you chose songs that specifically told stories, because people don't really tell stories anymore. And most new music especially, it all pretty much sounds the same. It's all commercial. It's all, I fucked this bitch in the ass and I'm popping Molly and drinking. Like it's all pretty much the same.
100%. Like all about brand endorsements. Like, oh, I got this FUBU, I got this Balenciagas, these Ray-Bans, these, like, nobody, like, everybody's so material driven and not actually giving out like knowledgeable things to look out for, like in life, like Royce the 5'9", people who actually have like a motive behind their lyrics, not just, I got this nice car and these chains and I rock this whip.
And the funny thing is, most artists who are very, very good at storytelling, they kind of get swept under the rug or overlooked because it's not mainstream enough. It's not popular enough. It's not, nobody wants to hear about, this boring story about you doing something for your daughter or taking care of your mother or, getting into it with your best friends or, having your girlfriend or your boyfriend. No one wants to hear that. Everybody wants to be in the club, getting drunk, getting high, surrounded by groupies, dazzled in jewels, and for someone who's not very materialistic, you don't want to hear about what another nigga got all the time. Like that
right,
gets
because it's to me, it's one of those things you can't relate, and that's what gets on my nerves with music nowadays, because you can't honestly put yourself in those shoes, because that's not what you're about. You're not oh yeah, I'm just gonna rock this chain, this and this, and at the end of the day, you come home to the same four walls every day,
Yeah.
and you're not traveling all over the country, fucking on 1,000,001 foreign bitches. And
This isn't to throw shade at the people who are living that lifestyle. I have nothing
true,
against being, luxurious, high maintenance, high class. That's totally fine. But that's like
right,
10% of the world, really. Like no one is waking up every single day unless you're like a Kardashian or something like that. And even if you are, who cares? Like that's not important to me. But before we drift off into any more nonsense, let's get into some of these lyrics really quick. So for the first song, you chose "Keep It 100" by Joyner Lucas.
yes, it's actually the longest song out of all these songs, which it's 6 minutes and 57 seconds, basically a 7-minute song. And yeah, it's really impactful because it's just a journey, and you're like, oh, okay, there's a journey in life, and we all have it. So, but this is something that's not. It's just a material itself. It's not even something that it's worth like as much. Like, yeah, money is money, but it's not one of those things that actually walks and talks like everybody else.
Right. It has no spiritual value.
Right.
There's no life in it. It's just a material thing. Just like whatever you're going to go buy is a material thing. The money that you're using it with has no real value. It only has value because you give it to it. And I feel like I have that logic when it comes to just money, period. I know, especially now in this day and age, it's crippling to be financially stable. And so many people struggle with it. Even if you work a full-time job, you have to have, 2 or 3 of those full-time jobs to even survive at the bare minimum. So money is very crippling. And I always had this theory in my head that, money is only as valuable as you make it. And I wish that we lived in a society where it wasn't the value of money, but the value of the work that you did that would allow you to have the things that you want. So for example, if you work in a full 40-hour week, or if you want to double that up to an 80-hour week, which is insane, but people do it, then you should be able to afford anything that you want, because that's how much work you're putting into it versus you only get X amount of money for X amount of hours, even though the work you're doing is probably worth more than what you're being paid physically. But that's
100%.
So I'm looking at the lyrics right now, and the first couple of lines already have my attention.
Right.
So this is Joyner Lucas, Keep It 100. He said, "Somebody told me money rules the world. I know you heard that shit. Money's the root of all evil. Blessings and murder shit. I slaved away for 10 hours a day at work and just finally got my check, but the ATM isn't working. Shit. Oh, there it go." That is so, going back to what you were saying, to music being non-relatable, that is the most relatable thing I've ever heard in my life. Like, that is extremely extreme. Like, yeah, I get that. I feel that 100%. Like, because everybody has those days where you just got off of work, you're tired, you just want to cash your little check and get something to eat and then go home. But you can't, because if there's not one thing that's stopping you from just living a normal life and keeping your sanity and humanity, it's another thing.
Right, and like you could have
win for losing, basically, is what that is.
Right. You just got done getting off work and you want to get some food, but you ain't even got your credit, your card or whatever. And you're like, man, I just left my card at home. Wasn't thinking too much of it. Now I'm hungry. Now you got to drive all the way home, burn gas that you didn't want to burn. It's just always one thing after the other. So I definitely understand the relatability to just the line alone.
And looking through the rest of these lyrics, it sounds like, and this is just, correct me if I'm wrong, you know this song
Oh yeah,
way better than I do. I've never heard it before in my life. I don't know how it sounds. I don't know how the music goes, but it really reads like a poem, like the average Joe's life. So I'm just reading through it, and I haven't finished it. I got maybe somewhat in the beginning toward the middle. But what it sounds like is, this is a hardworking guy. He works full-time job. He's trying to make an honest living, a legal living the right way. He wants to be the right type of guy. Gets off work, goes to catch his check, can't do it because the ATM's broken, finally get his little bit of money, And the first thing he does is he calls his plug. He says, "Hey man, I need about a gram. I need a blunt. I just got off work. I'm tired." I know niggas who talk like this. So he gets 100%. Off work. He meets the plug at the gas station. He gets the gram. He gets the gram and he gets whatever he needs from the plug, and then he goes to the strip club and he's having a good time. So from what I've just read up until about at this point, he just sounds like an average everyday guy just trying to live his best life, but the universe isn't allowing him to do that. Like being caught with obstacles constantly. If it's not one thing, it's another. So if you wanted to further elaborate on the rest of the song.
So the way I pertain this the transaction with the plug and the person, it's more one of those things where I think of it just for the dollar bill traveling hands, because you never know what where that money been, where it's traveled. And like, you know, they used to, when we were kids, they used to do the whole track your money and that little thing. So I see it as a journey of the $100 bill that he got from his job. He just cashed it. They gave him a $100 bill. His plug, he handed that $100 bill to his plug, and his plug took that money and went to the club.
Okay, so his plug went to the. Okay, I got you. Okay.
So, you know,
I'm sorry. I'm putting pieces of the puzzle together. So the song is called "Keep It 100."
Right.
It starts off with a guy getting off of work and taking a $100 bill from the ATM and giving it to the plug. The plug goes from the $100 bill goes from the plug to the strip club, and I assume it also goes from the strip club to another point in the story. And then from there, it travels again and travels again. So it's not the life of the man, but the life of the money. You're personifying the dollar bill.
Yes.
Okay, I'm following.
And then basically all this becomes full circle. But with that just being said, like, you never know the story of an individual, because, you know, we all tend to just think of our life being impacted by something, not everybody else's that follow after you.
Right.
So, you know, after you give that money away, you're not thinking about that money no more.
Right.
Other than the fact you're like, damn, I just spent that money. But outside of that, you don't know where it goes, where it's traveled. So, you know, after it left the guy, you don't hear about the guy no more.
Yeah.
You don't hear about the worker no more. But
so how does the story? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
After it leaves the guy who just got done going from work, he goes straight to it goes straight to the plug. And the plug, his first reaction, just like the guy, was to go spend it. Mm-hmm. Think about it as a Black community, we spend our money too quick. We don't never have it in our pockets longer than a few hours. It usually, I got bills, I got this, I got that.
Right.
So for somebody like the Jewish community, who tends to keep their money in their pockets for 17 days before it cycles out of their even community. So we find that as a struggle into itself, because you don't realize that money is important in your life like these people or that person, because money moves all the time too quickly in our community.
And that's
that's
kind of a barrier that the Black community has, because, you know, you're so eager and excited to spend a whole lot of money when you get it, that you don't know how to save, you don't know how to invest, you don't learn how to just let your money sit and gain, you know, value and equity without just touching it, because you just want to be like everybody else who has all of these, you know, flashy material things that you don't think long term. You're thinking short term. You're thinking right now instead of tomorrow or next week. Which is a learned skill. You don't automatically know how to budget your money to invest and distribute it properly. You have to learn how to do that. And it's not the easiest thing in the world to learn, despite what some people may or may not say. Okay, so I'm reading along here, and this is literally a nice little like story. I can see it happening. So it goes from the guy who just got off of work to the plug. It goes from the plug to the stripper. The stripper uses it to snort cocaine, apparently. Picks it up off the ground, she rolls it up, she snorts cocaine with it, and then she kind of comes down a little bit. She's like, damn, I gotta go to the grocery store. I gotta get this, I gotta get that, I gotta get that. So she goes to the grocery store, she spends it at the grocery store. Now the grocery store has it. The grocery store gets robbed. Now the robber has it. So, okay, and this is a long song. So it goes from the worker to the plug to the stripper to cocaine to the grocery store to the robber, and from the robber, no, wait a minute. From the robber, okay. I just wanted to. I'm sorry. I wanted to make sure that I read that correctly. I was like, wait a minute. He puts that 100 inside of the collection plate on Sunday
because he felt guilty.
Oh my
God.
God.
As an individual, we tend to feel a lot of guilt for the actions that we do, even if it's good or bad. We find some kind of reason behind trying to justify your action.
Oh no! So, and then it goes.
He puts it in the hands of the collection plate, and the pastor ends up getting it. He's one of those people who, over time, your body wears down, so you tend to find outlets, and as human as it is, it's wrong. He takes them. He steals from the church.
Yes, he did.
And once he steals it from the church,
oh man,
he takes it and he goes and finds a hooker.
Yep, that's what he did. He's doing it. I'm reading it right now. This is like a really bad soap opera. I'm so sorry. Gosh, this is dramatic. Okay, so it goes. So let's start out before we continue any further, because I'm getting down to the bottom of the page here. So it goes from this entire song is about the journey of $100 bill. It goes from the worker at the ATM to the plug at the gas station to the stripper with the cocaine to the clerk at the grocery store to the thief to the pastor to a prostitute. And it's just, oh my God.
And then immediately after that, she, everybody has that moment when they're like, man, I'm getting too old for this, or I'm getting too worn out.
I'm gonna stop you right there. I got you. And she don't like how this shit make her feel. But you gotta do what you gotta do when it's time for paying bills, for real. She wants to retire soon. She swear to God, smack. She looked up and see the hand of God. Oh my God, forgot she had a pimp. That nigga been looking for her ass for days. Took every single dollar and left her eye black and gray. That is some really fucked up shit. Then he be on the corner gambling, drunk that away. Having gambling, throwing all his cash away. Some say that money ruled the world. I know you heard that shit. Money the root of all evil. Blessings and murder shit. Yeah, that pimp just lost that $100 in a dice game. He said, I should have just bet that shit on tonight's game. Whatever, nigga, nice game. The homie who won it took it, walked off with the 100, then opened up his wallet, stuck it inside, then put it in his pocket. Wow. Okay. So, and the crazy thing about this song is, even though once the dollar bill leaves from one person and goes to the next, you learn so much about that person in the time that they had that dollar bill. So let's just backtrack for just a second. Go back to the worker. He's tired, working all day, 10-hour shift, tries to get the money at the ATM. The ATM don't want to work for him. He's upset about that, but he finally gets the money. You can buy him a blunt and some pills and maybe get a few drinks and then head back home. So you can tell from that little snippet that he is an exhausted man who works a full-time job and is trying to do the right thing the right way. Switch to the plug. The plug, is a plug. He comes in like he's supposed to. He drops off the stuff and he heads over to the strip club. He makes his living selling drugs to other people, and he's perfectly okay with it. I know both niggas who fit those descriptions extremely, extremely well. The plug is the type of guy who the only way he makes his money is the wrong way.
It's fast. It's fast money.
fast money. It's not loyal money. It's not honest money. It's not legal money. So him and the worker are like polar opposites, but they work with each other. Let's go to the scene of the strip club. You got the stripper. She sees the niggas with the hundreds in their hands. That's who she goes to. Because
and it points it out in the song.
Because strippers' mentality is you want to make money as fast as you can, as quick as you can, without having to 100% degrade yourself. Obviously, you're going to feel some type of way getting naked for strangers, but as long as they got money, you don't care. And I know for a fact that strippers only really pay their attention to the niggas who have money. If you toss in singles, they might give you, you know, a twerk or two, that's about it. But if you're passing out hundreds, they're going to cater to you like French maid style.
And they tend to gravitate towards that.
Exactly. So she sees a nigga with the hundreds, that's who she goes towards. And of course she gets that money, no problem. And she uses that money to feed her addiction,
which is a coping mechanism on why she's actually doing it to begin with.
Exactly. So all of that ties into itself because she hates what she does, but she needs to do what she's doing to feed the habit that she also hates. So it's more of a self-hate thing than anything else. So, and then reality hits in. Once that high comes down, reality hits. Like, oh shit, I gotta go to the grocery store. So she goes to the grocery store. The grocery store clerk is a regular, schmegular guy. He runs the grocery store. He doesn't care about anything. He sees girls like her all the time. It doesn't faze him. But he gets robbed by the thief. The thief is just struggling to make a living like everybody else in the store is struggling to make a living. He has to do it the only way that he can, which is by robbing and thieving. So out of guilt, because he knows he doesn't want to keep living his life like this, he doesn't have a choice though, because he's struggling. He's probably very young, either a younger sibling or a young child, or his mother is probably unemployed. Whatever type of tragic story that needs to fall into place to make his life make sense is what he's going through. Out of guilt, he goes to church and says, I'm gonna give this money back to God, and hopefully God will forgive me for the sins that I've committed, and you know, all that good shit. And then we get to the pastor. The pastor is a dirty bastard. And the way that dirty bastards operate, they, you know, preach in your face about, you know, they're hypocrites. So they're preaching in your face about, you know, your sins and how can you repent and, you know, be true to yourself and be faithful to God and be his servant forever and all whatever the fuck pastors talk about. Meanwhile, this nigga's turning around, snatch the same $100 bill out of the collection plate that the guilty thief, you know, gave to God, and you're taking it out of God's hands now. And you don't buy groceries, you don't give toys to orphans, you don't fucking feed the homeless, you go and find a prostitute.
Yeah, you're not struggling in no way, shape, or form.
And you use that money for the worst thing. That's worse than the cocaine at the strip club, honestly, but because you're a pastor, so you're a humongous.
You're supposed to be at this pedestal.
Right. You have
you
very,
stooping
very
so low as to steal.
And this is what you do. So now let's fast forward to the prostitute. She's got to make her money the best way and the only way that she's know how. Now, prostitutes and strippers kind of go hand in hand as far as feeling degraded, but I feel like prostitutes have it a lot rough. I was going to say a bit, but that's an understatement. Have it a lot rough because they're actually risking their lives on a regular basis.
Right.
To be alone with these strange
kidnapping,
anything. Prostitutes are high like serial killer victims. So usually if they're killed like left and right, they're most likely prostitutes. So
right.
She gets the money for her job and she's like, man, I don't want to keep doing this, man. This is the birds. I'm sick of it. And then out of nowhere she gets right there in the goddamn eyeball, and all the money that she just made is gone. So she doesn't even have stability the way that everyone else in the story has. Because at least after they get their money, they can keep it and choose what they want to do with it. She doesn't even have that choice. She can't keep the money that she worked for. Meanwhile, these other niggas are just getting it without even having to try. The thief and the preacher just take it, you know, but she can't even keep it. And then we get to the pimp. This nigga so damn stupid. He just gambled it and lost it, and now it's all gone. So, which that's what we stopped at the song, but there's still a few more lines left to go. I have to take my glasses. I have something on. It's not hot or anything, but I have something on my glasses, and
Right. But so it leaves with the guy. He put in. He's excited. You know, he just put his money in his wallet. You know, just one. I'm about to go do something. I'm gonna go treat myself, jumping, happy, skipping, and it falls out his pocket. You know, after a long time.
Wow.
It sits in the back of a halfway house, right? For 3 weeks. Don't know how, because it had the 100 sticking out and everything. But a homeless man, you know, he panhandles. He has to make a living by panhandling, and he was hungry. He finds it. He takes the money and he goes to the same exact place that got robbed.
Yep.
And you have to think of it. The guy wrote his number on there. That's the only way he could. Everybody knew that money's traveled through the entire circle. And
then it looks like at the end of the song they call the number and it's Joyner Lucas' number. All right, so this is the last couple of lines from the song. Yo, what's up? This is Joyner. I'm unable to talk to you right now. Leave me a brief message and I'll get back to you. That's his voicemail. Mr. Lucas, Officer Michael Bradley with the police department, trying to get a hold of you now. This is the third time calling. I need to speak to you with regards to some serious charges. You need to get back to me as soon as possible or we'll be showing up at your door with about 10 officers and some handcuffs. The choice is yours. Now, let's do a final recap of this long-ass song so we can go on to the next one. Not that this wasn't this is a great song. I love the story behind it. So we have $100 bill. It starts with the worker who just got off of work, 100%. Gets him the ATM, takes it to the plug. The plug gives him the drugs. The plug then goes to the strip club. The strippers at the strip club see the nigga with the hundreds. She dances for him. He gives her the money. She takes that money, uses it to snort her cocaine, and then she's like, "Fuck, I gotta go to the grocery store." She goes to the grocery store. The grocery store
is technically the little convenience
store, grocery store, corner store, gas station. That
almost all the same thing.
So she goes there, spends the money. The convenience store ends up getting robbed. The thief who robbed the convenience store is like, damn, I feel bad about this. Takes the money, goes to church, puts it in the collection plates. This backwards ass preacher takes the money out of the collection plates, buys a prostitute for an hour, gets putting that off, gives her the money. The pimp comes, smacks her in the face, takes the money, gambles it, loses it. The nigga who won the money is an idiot, loses that. A homeless person picks it up, says, fuck it, I just found me $100. I'm gonna give me something to eat. Goes back to the same convenience store that was just robbed by the thief and had items purchased from the stripper, gives the money back to the clerk at the convenience store. He says, oh shit, I've seen this exact same dollar bill a couple of days ago, or however long the duration of time was. And it ends with the police calling Joyner Lucas, whose number is written on the top of the dollar bill, saying that he has charges on his record and they've been trying to get a hold of him. So this nigga's on the run, apparently, and
so
$100
from my perspective in this was Joyner was the guy who was the plug.
You think Joyner was the plug?
Because that's the only way to think about it, because he took the red marker, wrote his number on it at the strip club.
Okay. To get to the woman.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if all that stuff happens, you know, he doesn't know. And, you know, after he done gave the money to the girl, he don't know what happened after that. But as there's a liquor store that was robbed, you know, so nobody really knows where Joyner Lucas plays in this. What is he up to? You know, he could have been charged with something as far as like the drugs and stuff is concerned prior, you know, because that's happens. You know, sometimes you get picked up.
He could have been the plug. He could have been the thief. He could have been the nigga who won the money from the pimp and dice game. He could have been to anybody. But and my thing is, why would you write your number on $100 bill and think that they're not gonna like not spend it? Like it'd be different if it was like a $1 bill, where it's a $1 bill. Okay, I can keep that. But you wrote a $100 bill.
It's a power play. It's a power play. If you think about it like that, you know, I got money. It don't matter to me. I just want to impress you enough for you to call me, because
that's not impressive.
The lyrics literally says that
I'm still gonna spend this bill and you're never gonna hear from me again. So
true. But that's the mind state of a stripper. If he would have probably did that shit at a convenience store or something, like, hey, let me know when your man ain't doing you right. Here's $100 with my number on it. Let you know I got big money around here.
That's the most arrogant thing I've ever heard.
But it is, and people do it though. So that's basically a story of $100 bill. So you don't know what your $5, $2, whatever is going through. That's why as kids we were always told to don't put money in your mouth. You don't know where that shit been.
Yeah, and it was at the end of Ain't About the Money by T.I., where he was talking about something. It was a rant. It was a really quick flash poetry thing where he was just saying a whole bunch of stuff. But within that segment, he was talking about dirty money isn't necessarily dirty physically, but what you had to go through to get it is what makes it dirty.
Right.
But also, I mean, money is physically disgusting, which is why people, you know, like, don't stick it in your bra, or don't stick it in. I used to stick dollar bills in my shoes, which, that's gross, but I mean, it's not
putting it in your mouth.
It's not wedged between the thong of a stripper's ass cheeks, or, you know, covered in cocaine or some shit like that. But one of the benefits of this whole coronavirus issue is my mom disinfects all of her dollar bills. I used to do that. That makes me feel a little bit better. But okay, let's move on. Well, are you finished with that song? Did you have anything else to say?
Yeah, I just basically, you know, wanted to see and caption the whole perspective of $1 bill or $100 bill, and that journey and how it led to the individual artist itself, which was basically one of those things that it was a clever way to put his name out there.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
For sure.
Especially with the whole police call at the end, being like, hey, Joyner Lucas, like, said his whole name, you know.
Yeah, so we know more about you than you may think. And if you don't cooperate, you know, cooperatively, we're going to have to, you do the easy way, you do it the hard way. So that's basically
right.
So now let's move on to song number 2 on your list is Thuggin' in My Yesterdays by Problem. Now,